Okay, everyone, game number 1 is about to start. Welcome to the Nexus Contest. We're looking at Battlefield of Eternity, our first map between Finland and France. And this is, of course, mostly amateur players that we're seeing here now. So it was basically a contest that was hosted and organized in the spirit of the Nexus games that were held last year. So back then, HCC players couldn't participate in it, but it was a great room for players to just like emerge out of the scene, make a bit of a name for themselves. And we have a very similar tournament organized too. Most of the teams have coaches. France, for example, is coached by Mene, who already told me a couple of secrets. He told me that if his team wins, then his strategy was followed to the T. Everybody did well. But if the team loses, then it's obviously the player's fault because they didn't really follow the calls of the coach good enough. As it happens, though, this is definitely going to be a lot more high level than what we're usually seeing in Heroes Launch Division 7, so prepare for that, and you see it with the draft already reflected too. Genji banned out, ban on Maiev with that too, and Zeratul taken away for Battlefield of Eternity, so no follow-ups with ring setups or anything around those lines. I mean, the first picks are something that interests me because I really want to see where Hanzo lands. As it turns out, he lands in the ban. Fair enough. That's okay too. So, no rushing down the Immortal. But we could see an early Tyrande pick still. Tyrande is still in general really good for follow-ups with stun combos. And at the same time, obviously, you can rush down that Immortal with a Hunter's Mark pretty easily as well. And I would really surprise if she doesn't make an appearance here in one of the earlier picks. The question is simply, is she first pick material for the team? And yep, she definitely is. Alright, so starting us off with Tyrande. We have also seen not really a lot of bans on the front line. So we still have Diablo, we still have Garrosh. There's a lot of heroes that you can use with Tyrande to have a stun combo happening. And the first picks on the side of Finland. Alright, Diablo and Liming. Liming for the poke and Battlefield of Eternity again is also really good because you can just consistently, when you're sitting between the two Immortals, you can just like fire away and make sure that you're getting a couple of salvos in. If the opponent wants to dodge it, they have to send someone in to tank the damage and then heal it up again. Diablo, as we said, tanks when really prioritized in the bans, has now been picked early, and that means Garrosh on the other side comes in immediately too. You have a couple of additional options of what you can play here, but those are usually still the two tanks that most teams fight over. And Reyna comes in as well. Heavily picked at BlizzCon, heavily picked ever since he was buffed. Can be played with a bit of a variation on Battlefield of Eternity. Instead of Ace in the hole on level 1, you go into Exterminator and get more damage onto the Immortal. So that's one of the plays that you can make if you want to. A lot of the teams decide against it. Just depends on, do you want to try and rush the Immortal, or how are you going to try and play this? Tyrael banned out. I found that a bit of an interesting ban because I didn't really expect a lot of Tyrael for the offlane to be played here with Garrosh already chosen. Usually when you see Tyrael is maybe like a Tyrael, maybe with an Anubarak, maybe with a Blaze, but more so in the main tank position than in the offlane. So I'm not quite sure what to make out of that ban in particular, especially with the lineup that France is currently running here. So that's a little bit of a weird one. Furion banged out, so in terms of support, there's no follow-up there. Blaze, I like it for the offlane. Great choice here for them. Gives a little bit more safety at the front, and of course, too. We can expect bunker here. This is not Division 7, so combustion is a bit unlikely. At least I hope so. And what's the next pick for them? A bit more damage or support? Probably support first. Oh, Lucio. Alright, alright, alright. We have seen a couple of games where the Lucio players actually did really well, but most people here probably know my opinion on Lucio, and I'm not sure if Finland can change that today. Outside of hit-and-run strategies with the hero, I don't really think he supplies that much to you in a big fight, and especially on Battlefield. I mean, he keeps you in the fight, right? So he can do that. He's not as mana-reliant as other heroes, so that's something that helps out here. Jaina now for burst damage, Thrall picked as well for the offlane. Would have maybe liked something a bit more hit point heavy, but the Jaina setup with Tyrande, I actually like it. And we have Lunara coming in. Alright, stage is set. Game number 1. Battlefield of Eternity, France versus Finland. Now best of 3 here. And I actually like what France has. The Lunara, Lucio towards the end keeps me a bit skeptical, but I like the first 3 picks that we see for Finland. So let's go into game number 1 and check out how the series starts off. Game number one, Finland versus France on Battlefield of Eternity. And to the left, Chikabawa on Blaze. We have Mai on Liming, MXD on Diablo, the Duke, I think, on Lucio, and Buvel on Lunara. And over to the right side, we currently have France with Nestip on Jaina, Alchemists on Garrosh, Masquerade on Reyna, Banana H on Tyrande, and Dequaza playing Thrall in game number one and going for Echo of Elements. No Trash Lightning or any shenanigans like that. Set up as expected, with Thrall immediately starting to move to the top lane. And down here, we are currently seeing the red team, France, starting off with a 4-man. Now, exactly with this rotation, you want to, of course, have Tyrande and especially Garrosh working together. Ideally, a flip into a Tyrande stun would be the dream, and then Nestip following up with a quick Blizzard. There is a lot of one-shot potential here. So that's definitely going to work out well for them if they ever get a hold onto a target. Diablo's already a bit scared with a spell shield on level 1 here of all the Jaina damage that could come out. Rightfully so. And you can definitely tell that this French team is coached by Mene. The first thing that they're drafting, bam, a sniper combo with Jaina. Get that burst damage in, make sure that you get those immediate kills. And it's a little bit hard for Nestip. You can already imagine that Mene is just sitting there watching Jaina the entire time, and every single time a cooldown is not used with value, Mene is gonna write it down and then talk to Nestip afterwards and be like, dude, you can't do that. She's my girl. Like, you have to represent her well here. You have to do something with her. So, we are going to see if that's going to work in the long run. Either way, for now, we are having Echo of... Oh, there's the attack against Diablo. Good move by MXD. And he might actually get not quite the kill against Garrosh. But he got a lot of damage in. And that was well done. The immediate push out with the Shadow Charge from Diablo out of harm's way. And then even putting the extra damage on the Garrosh. Wasn't really too bad. Nice push here, currently, from Finland. Up to the top, Thrall is obviously trying to get his Echo of Elements stacked together. That's going to be important for him. And ideally you want to do that before the first objective is on the board, so that you have the extra charge and can just keep spamming it. We're already having a Wisp, by the way, right over at the camp from Lunara. So trying to find out when exactly heroes are going to be split off by the French team to get the Shamans for the top lane. And down here, still just the poke battle. Seeing if maybe someone steps out of position. Masquerade is already going a little bit deep at times, so Diablo is going to try and see if he can maybe capitalize on that and start jumping in, flick him over, and then pushing him into the rest of the team, if they can pull that off. In terms of talents, we talked a bit about the potential Exterminator on level 1 for Jimmy. We don't get that. And by the way, the rotation towards the camp. So we had over here, as I said, one Wisp, and the second that those two appear on the map at the camp, we saw the rotation towards the camp down at the bottom of the map. So it's basically just, if you know where your opponent is, you immediately try and capitalize on it. So if, let's say, Tyrande and Reyna would have only stepped back a bit behind the gate, there was never really any real knowledge where they are, then you can't go for that camp. But the way that it worked out, thanks to the Wisp of Lunara, they immediately made that play and said like, okay, we're going to get this right now. But a bit of a better position when it comes to the first objective for the French team. I mean, they're burning that down already, and the rotation from Finland is just now happening because they were delayed at their own Shaman camp. And that didn't really work out too well for them. So a little bit problematic here for sure. Fight or flight for Jimmy. So really going to deal with some of that burst damage too. But we have decent poke on the side of Finland as well. Especially, of course, as Lunara can attach all that poison damage. Then again, red team France was already a bit in the lead. And the French team is so far doing well here. I mean, we haven't seen a single kill yet, don't get me wrong. But their rotations are looking solid so far. And they are really bringing the pain now on the Immortal. And that should be a victory for them. Yep, they race it down pretty quickly. While Nulara's poison is fantastic, it also takes a little bit more time. So the first Immortal goes over to the French team. Liming now with dominance on level 4. Once she hits level 6, Calamity is of course going to be a big problem, potentially in the team fight. So she can get those resets and then extra damage in. So that's something that the French team has to be careful of. Especially the low HP heroes like Tyrande. Jaina also needs to be a bit careful against that. But for now, we have the push happening. It's only a small Immortal. There's not a lot of shields happening with this one. Thrall finally completing his quest talent, didn't have it in the last objective battle, so couldn't really use it there, but both teams just went for the race anyway, so didn't play too much of a role. But now we're seeing Finland racing down that Immortal. At the same time though, Diablo is in trouble, MXT trying to move out, and there's the Blizzard, massive damage, and he goes down. Well played. Also, Lucio in trouble here, was trying to help his team. To be honest, if I would have expected one of the two teams to pick a hero that helps them to run away a little bit faster, it would have been the French team. That's not quite what happened here though, so surprisingly the Finnish team picked it. I'm not quite sure if they thought that was a deny pick to make sure that France couldn't get it, but alright, I promise this is the only French joke that I'm gonna bring. Nah, it's not, you know me, but still, like, yeah. Either way, Lucio didn't really do too much to help Diablo out there in this case. And he's the one that I was the most skeptical of. I mean, Lucio picks these days is really something where I personally just think the hero doesn't offer you enough. And in general, I like actually the draft that we're seeing for the blue team. At least what they started with. Liming, Blaze, Diablo was a really good setup. But then their support and the second damage deal, I was a little bit skeptical of that. I think they could have done this a bit different in the way that they were handling it. I mean, either way, for now, France is in the lead, and rightfully so. I mean, they have the first kill, they got the first objective, they played this really well, did a great job here, had good rotations going too. But the main question is, of course, how is this going to shift once level 10 abilities are in? Because right now, there might be a lead for France, but it's not really as huge as it would make a big difference, you know, in the way that the mid-game shapes up. So it's really going to be eye levels once we're hitting level 10, unless we have a big team fight before. Level 7 talents are now in 2. Khaldor Resistance for Tyrande over Celestial Attunement. So a bit more, I don't want to say afraid, but worried about Liming than worried about the Jet Propulsion and the Diablo engage. So just trying to play around that. Alright, get the Immortal down, and the race is actually at some point gonna look a little bit different, because this time Finland rotated in time. The last time they were a bit late to the party, this time they were there just in time, and now we have more or less a 50-50 between the two. And now it's a defensive posture from France that we're seeing here. Trying to defend the Splintered Spear. Calamity are definitely going to change the balance a bit, but they decide to simply rush as well. And it's a close one. It is a close one, but France wins it again. But those are close calls that we're seeing here. Both of the teams just saying like, don't really want to fight this just yet. I mean, especially when you're looking towards Finland, they want to also have Lucio's ult, right, so that they can mitigate some of the burst damage that is definitely going to come from France. And I feel this is going to be the big one. Lucio has to have really nice sound barriers in those team fights if the combos of France are hitting. And that might become a bit of an issue for him. For now, we're having level 10s in. Oh, Mene is not gonna like that. Water Elemental over Ring of Frost. Coach Mene is not going to be happy with this. He loves his Ring of Frost. He loves the burst damage. But we have the Water Elemental now instead, trying to slow them down a little bit. Thornwood Vines for the poke as expected. Great for the Immortal then later on as well. And already the attempt to maybe keep them in range here with Diablo's Lightning Breath didn't quite work out. I think they were hoping for Lunara to close the distance, get the Thornwood Vines through, and then start to get the slows in, maybe even with Lucio speeding things up. Didn't quite work out, but it's not like the ult that he just burned should play a big role. It's gonna be ready for the next objective again, but of course in an ideal world he wouldn't have not committed to it. Be it as it may, we're having also, at the same time now, Thrall with his Earthquake, and in terms of talents, kind of what you expect. Now again, if you have a lot of engaged heroes, heroes that really close the distance quickly, if you have like, I don't know, a Zeratul, a Genji or whatnot, then maybe as Lunara you want to go into Leap and try and make sure that you just get to safety and can hop away a bit. But in an ideal world on Battlefield of Eternity, the dream is always to go with Thornwood Vines. Simply because you can just go in and just poke away at your opponent quite easily from a distance, and that really helps you in stalemates around the Immortal in particular, but it just helps you in general when you want to stay at distance. And talking about Lunara, we actually have now the natural perspective on level 1. That in itself is a talent we have actually seen a lot, especially when you fight around gates. Nature's Culling, on the other hand, get a little bit more damage in against the Immortal. I think that's the main reason that we're having that talent choice being made, because you want to think about the Immortal pressure here, and they used that already in the previous fights. Tyrande only with 1 stack. Not really indicating that she herself doesn't land the stacks, but it shows a bit how little we have big fights happening in this game. So far it was only small pokes around the Immortal, and even there, it was basically just a silent agreement. Alright guys, let's just try and race it down. I like that already, double checking the bush here. That's something that we have discussed quite a bit when we were casting Division 7 of Heroes launch. It's one of the things that you see as soon as you move a little bit into the upper tiers of play. Very, very quickly. Here comes the Lightning Breath again. He is a little bit trigger happy on that ult. That did not really a lot. I think he was trying to ignite the oil spill from Blaze and trying to show him that he can do that too, but turns out he can't. So he's a little bit trigger happy on this one. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. But now we have the Immortals being attacked again. Defensive posture from both for a while, but here comes France. The French are moving in, going for the flip. Again, nice Shadow Charge, going straight for it. Earthquake down, and Diablo dies. The sound barrier is too late. The zero value Lucio play right now. It's tricky for Lucio. I'm ripping him. I love to rip Lucio a little bit, but at the same time, it is a difficult move for him. He really needs to anticipate when the engagement happens, when the commitment happens, more so than the engagement, actually. And in this case, he was pretty much on the money, but he was just half a second too late. And if you don't hit that sound barrier with the delay that it has, then your hero just dies. It's the only tool that you have to really save someone. So with that being said, we now have the French team even more so in the lead. I mean, they have 2 kills against 0. We're seeing them with a bit of an advantage in experience. And this is a badass Immortal that they're putting onto the field right now. This is not one of these tiny little shields Immortals that we had earlier. I mean, those guys don't even count. It's just like an oversized minion. But right now, that is a badass shield that we're seeing. And this is going to be a much tougher push towards the top lane with the additional level 13 talent. Giddy Up already taken, just as one example. I mean, Jaina right now, that's you. And they're already retreating. They're not even fighting for this one because, let's face it, they got. There's like no minion wave, there's nothing else happening. This is a freebie right there. Free Fort, and Blaze is bot side, trying to get level 13 talents for them now too. So with that said, immediately we're starting to see everyone jumping onto the gate at the keep itself. 13 talents already. Now they can try and make the play. Also Lunara here with a greater spell shield. Very afraid of that play from Jaina in particular, I would say. Especially if at any point Garrosh can get a flip in. Now again, Bivelle would love to have Leap when she plays against Garrosh. But right now, this is really what they're going to try and do. Just like play around that. And Bivelle's still poking away, but they're going to lose that keep for sure. So game number 1 so far, not looking good for Finland. Here comes the combo, the taunt, the stun, and the immediate attack for Diablo. Lightning Fury, insane. This time, the value is right there. Lucio's on the run though, and everybody else is too, because Diablo might have his souls, but he doesn't have any hit points. And that is bad. Jet Propulsion helps him for a little bit. Diablo goes down again, and that's kill number 3. Someone in a dark room, Coach Mena, sits with a smile on his face and already congratulates himself to victory number 1. Nah, we're not quite there yet. Not quite. But they're doing well. They have 3 kills. They play quite disciplined, I have to say. And Finland is struggling with that currently a little bit. Diablo's Lightning Breath was a lot better in the last engagement, but it just didn't really do enough. The problem is they need to have... Like, the longer the poke war lasts before the actual engage happens, the better for Finland. Because they have Lunara with Thornwood Mines and Poison, they have Li Ming with poke damage too. So this is really the dream for them, trying to play around that. Poke, 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 poke them low, and then commit and get a kill. And so far that hasn't really worked out. So Finland struggling here a bit, but France is looking good. France definitely also one of the teams that a lot of people have on their list when it comes to who makes it into the late rounds of the tournament, of the Nexus Contest. And I mean, for very good reason too. We're looking at the usual suspects again. We're looking at Sweden, we're looking at France, we're looking maybe at Poland, maybe Germany can play a little bit there too. But in general, it's like Sweden, France, Poland, and a few others that are normally doing extremely well here. So Finland comes into this as a bit of an underdog. At the same time, still with a team that can definitely pack a punch. So it's not like they don't have a chance here, but they need a bit more coordination when it comes to those fights. We're going to have a lot of games happening here in the group stage. I mean, we're going to be here now every single day for quite a few hours. trying to find out who's advancing. But with level 16 talents in their hand, it looks like France is having a fantastic start into this. I mean, right now, you can't really fight that. If you're Finland, they are looking to at least get some hit points off the Immortal, but they know that without level 16 talents, there's very little that they can do. There's a huge power spike on the side of France, and they can't just simply move in and contest that. So they have to try and poke a little bit, get that Immortal low. Now even trying to go into the defensive posture, so they're willing to take a battle. I'm not quite sure if that's going to work out for them, though. Diablo taunted, and very likely going to fall. Even with the sound barrier, there's just not enough. The bunker was on, but the taunt kept Diablo away from it. Now one is down. Water Elemental slows Chickabow, and he is dead as well. Blaze down, Diablo dead, everybody else on the run. Finland in trouble, and France on the move, as they are about to grab another Immortal and are looking for the kill too. Reina gets thrown in by Alchemist, and that's an immediate kill against Bambi. Bambi down, the rest also dead, and this is a 6 versus 0 game in terms of kills. And they get the next Immortal too. One keep is already down, and if you look at it, Finland hasn't even taken a fort yet. Finland has not claimed a single fort in this game. They took a few turrets, but that's all. And now the Immortal is going to walk through the bot lane, and that is 100% on the shields. This is going to be very, very tough to deal with for them right now. It's going to be difficult. I mean, this is really going to be very, very tricky. Because, I mean, no matter what you lose here, you could lose the game, right? But even if you only lose the keep, that means you don't have a single structure standing on the map anymore. And catapults are going to be pushing through both lanes. So that's definitely not where you want to look at right now. In terms of the damage output, Thrall with the Thunderstorm on 16 and his Echo of Elements on level 1 is currently taking the top damage because we saw a bit of poke happening. But Li Ming and Jaina, the mages, are still waiting for the burst damage to come out here. And burst damage we shall get. Here comes again the flip. Blaze with a bunker. Lightning Breath being used already, and Blaze trying to hit the jet propulsion. Doesn't work that in, moves away, gets locked down with a quick wolf, and that's the end of him. More chain lightnings coming out from Thrall. Here comes even the ult from Lucio. That's how desperate they are right now to somehow stop this. And the Immortal has lost its shield, but the keep is down. The Immortal already on the core. The shields are getting dropped here, and it is a 5 versus 4. 16 versus 16 talents, but the core is falling slowly but steadily. Immortal is nearly dead, though. It's not quite over yet, but well, with Diablo dying, might have spoken a little bit too soon here. This is looking very, very rough. The core is falling down to 30% as France is making their way in game number 1. Lunara falls, and this is the end. France taking game number 1 in the best of 3 series. Tomb of the Spider Queen, game number 2. France is in the lead, and now we're looking at Tomb here. Finland was struggling a bit in the last game on Battlefield of Eternity, so maybe a bit of a change of strategy. Tomb definitely being a very, very different map. I mean, all of a sudden we're talking 3 lanes, we're talking a small map with very, very quick rotations, so there's definitely an argument to be made that we're going to see a very different game now. But France looked strong under the guiding of Coach Mena. Again, Maiev and Genji banned out immediately, so everything that is able to just jump onto a lane and force a fight or be just extremely mobile, and in Genji's case also rely on resets, is taken away here. We saw even the Zeratul ban committed to in Battlefield of Eternity by France, if I remember correctly. But they're actually banning out Gul'dan, so one of the wave clear mages already gone. We have seen the Jaina commitment a bit earlier. Ophir is also banned out here. Are we going to see the same commitment? It's actually really interesting to me because, yep, there's Tyrande. As we said before, former HGC players were not allowed to play in this tournament, but at the same time, the teams are allowed to use them as coaches. So there is certain playstyles that we're probably going to see reflected quite a bit. And France already starting with the Tyrande first pick again. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go down the same vein of thought, but Jaina gets picked away immediately. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, the first thing that happens is Finland picks 2 of the heroes away that France relied upon in the last game. And Jaina with a burst damage That made a lot of sense here. We have Johanna being picked then instead of Garrosh. Could have gone into a Diablo as well. Works great with Tyrande, but decided to have more wave clear on the front line. So Johanna able with Condemn to clear wave is much easier. And then there's still set up through an Hanzo Arrow on level 10, through a Blessed Shield, or maybe even just through a slow from Johanna to help Tyrande land those stuns. Would still expect some burst damage and maybe more stun on the offlane. That could be Blaze, for example. And Asmodan gets banned out. With Johanna taken, there's a little bit of a worry that maybe there's going to be a stacking process going on for France. So they ban out Asmodan. Not really ripping them for that. Tomb of the Spider Queen was the big Asmodan map back in the days, because with Johanna and Asmodan you can just like stack on those waves very, very easily. Malfurion banned again. Seems to be one of the supports they don't want to have on the opposite team, maybe just because of a Twilight Dream potentially. And how is Finland going to run it now? Jaina Garrosh. A little bit more lockdown would be nice on the support end, maybe even. Ragnaros! Alright, and Anna. Ragnaros and Anna. Now the big question, of course, is immediately, have they watched too much Trixler and are going to go into a lava wave here on a small map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, or are we going to see Sulfuras? Problem with Sulfuras is you kind of want to have a pre-stun. It's not like you can't land it without it, right? But like, in an ideal world, you want someone to prepare it for you so that you don't whiff your ult. And we've seen even former HGC pros that had a very tough time hitting that R button at the proper time with Ragnaros. Junkrat and Blaze, liking that quite a bit. So Jet Propulsion into Tyrande stun, you have Junkrat displacement on the map too. You have a lot of squishies though. Tyrande, Hanzo and Junkrat are really not that hit point heavy, so if at any point there's some damage against them, you might be in some trouble. Last pick, offlane. What's it gonna be? Sonya. Sonya offlane, okay. I mean, we could have had... I'm saying offlane, I actually meant the second damage because I expected Ragnaros to be on the offlane. But now we have him part of the rotation. 3 melees, fair enough. 1 range damage. Okay, let's see what they can do. I like France a little bit more in this with the draft, but let's see what Finland's got. They have a Ragnaros here. Let's see if they can make the world burn. Game number 2 at the Nexus contest between Finland and France. France in the lead, the French team looking strong on Battlefield of Eternity, and now to the left in blue we once again have Finland with MXD on Garrosh, Chikabawau on Sonya, Buvel on Ragnaros, MYI on Jaina, and the Duke on Anna. Then again, for the French team, Desquoisin on Blaze, Nestip on Junkrat, doing well on Jaina in the last game. Alchemists on Johanna, Banana H once again in the second game in a row on Tyrande. And Masquerade is playing Hanzo. Time to shine for Finland. This is the important one in the best of 3 series here. If they lose here, then that would be them starting into the group stage with a loss. But France performed very strong in the first game, and they're going to be trying to do the same thing again. Sonya finds herself at the bot lane. We have 3 melees now for Finland. Personally, I really expected them to have Ragnaros on the bot lane, and instead of Sonya go for another hero. Nice incident here. Actually, it was really well done. I really like that, first of all, Blaze came in with the jet propulsion again to try and create some space, but also good reflexes on Masquerade as he immediately jumps out and makes sure that he can't get taken out by the blizzard that comes from Jaina. The burst damage, of course, always the thing to consider here. Same time now, we're having still the fight over the rotation, and so far France is doing fairly well with this. No rotation between the mid and the top lane. Solo lane, 1 versus 1 at the bottom of the map. But as you can see, Finland is a lot faster with the rotation, and they're currently dominating also the entire area around the turn-in point. So very tricky for France to move into that. And even rotations here are going to be difficult for them. If they go with the squishies here, they need to be careful that no one moves in from the side to try and get a kill. So we still have both of the teams fighting heavily over that. Especially if you're running a Tyrande, you want setups for stuns and then go through it. Piercing darts, by the way, on Anna on level 1. I'm really liking that a lot. Another throw. Okay, going for Alchemist here. Iron Skin saves him for now. But the team is definitely a lot more aggressive than they were in the on the last map. So far, I kind of like that. Nestip still poking, like he's most of the wave clear that they have on the red team. And especially towards the later stages of the game, he can definitely pack a punch here. But in this early game, we still have forts on the map. And also, of course, with gates. This is really the moment when you have to be very cautious that you don't run into a mine and get just like pushed back and yeah, eat all of that displacement. No real turn-ins just yet. Chicka Bow Wow still down to the bottom of the map, trying to push this in. So far doing well against Blaze. The mid fight is still ongoing, and that might be a flip. Yep, against Junkrat. And here comes the immediate attack. Junkrat is low, but able to walk away for now. Ana, on the other hand, has also eaten a lot of damage. One of the main reasons why you really want to keep stacking early on that Sleeping Guard, just so that you have the extra range. It's going to be very, very important for Ana in the later stages of the game. Good stun. Very well done from Tyrande, making sure that she just uses the choke point here to save Hanzo. That could have definitely been a lot worse, so I'm really, really liking this. Not even aiming for the hero, just aiming for the choke point, for the little path, and saying if anybody tries to go through and catch Hanzo, I'm gonna be delaying them so that he can get away safely here. Hurricane on Sonya has the level 4, so spin to win, probably live funnel on level 7 with that. If you already go straight into getting away from all those roots with your Hurricane. With that being said, we're also now having the first gems turned in on both sides, 12 each. And on the side of Johanna, just trying to get the extra pressure. I mean, we look at the talents, and first of all, next to the stacking process, as you can see, conviction taken for the movement speed increase. It really helps you. Target practice on Hanzo, and we're having now the explosive arrows as well, so getting a little bit more AoE out of that particular build. As we said before, for Ana, the sleeping guards are going to be very important, and she's currently sitting at 10, so still a lot of work to do for her. No doubt about that, but a lot of stacking talents just in general if you're looking towards the team in blue here. Especially Buvel, of course, with the Meteor build, trying to go into the shifting Meteor on level 1, so trying to get the extra damage up. But for now, she's already doing a fair amount of that. Still the pressure through the middle here. 27 against 46 turned in, and France has a good chance to get the first kill of the game here too. They're going for Jaina, and she's not gonna get out of this one. Nade to the face. I actually think they could have gone a little bit harder onto Garrosh here. At least denied a few gems, and they will get their own turn in now too. So it was a good kill, but I feel they could have done a bit more with zoning, trying to make sure that none of those gems are recovered. Tyrande is doing really well with those stuns. I'm really liking this. Banana Age in the last game didn't really get too many stacks, but it was mainly because there weren't too many big fights. But in this game already, he's really landing those, even without any assistance whatsoever. Nice attempt by Junkrat to maybe create a kill opportunity, but didn't quite work out for them. Celestial attunement, by the way, on Tyrande this time. So Banana Age on his support is definitely adapting to the circumstances of the game. And with Outer leaving on the other side, he looks towards that Jaina and he says like, nah, that's fine. I'm going to get the Celestial attunement instead, because we are going to deal more so with the stuns that can come out here. There's Buvel with a Molten Core trying to defend the mid lane. That should be an easy one for her. Same time, the Web Weaver at the top lane was already taken out. Alchemist is trying to slow them down, slow the rotation slightly. But, yep, at this point, we're seeing Ragnaros getting value. Ragnaros now in a position where he all of a sudden just shows once again that when it comes to deep-pushing objectives, he's one of the best heroes in the game for sure. MXD trying to get close, doesn't quite succeed with that. Quest completed for Jaina. Still only 1 kill. And even with that Web Weaver wave, we only saw pretty much a couple of turrets fall at the bot lane, not even that. So the French team definitely having to try and push their way through that Ragnaros defense, and it wasn't easy for them at all. So pretty tricky. Ragnaros could really delay that to a late game that might be favorable for Finland. Again, the attempt for a throw here. Bit of a safe action here as well from Garrosh. And they have a lot of gems right now. They definitely have a turn-in if they ever get to one of the turn-in points. Level 9 versus 9. We don't see any level 10 abilities just yet. Here's the turn-in. And Junkrat missed that. He just went to the top for a second, and he just missed Garrosh moving in, and that is a Web Weaver wave. And that Web Weaver wave comes with a Bruiser camp in the middle, and thanks to the spell aura, this could actually hurt. Probably already going to be de-pushed to a big extent, though, before the Web Weavers come down. So it's not perfect with the timing. I don't really think that they were trying to stack it, but it would have been the dream if it would have happened. But as you can see, it just doesn't work out here. Maybe let the minion wave stand a little bit longer, don't de-push it and hope for it to be delayed. But be it as it may, we still have the objective on the map now and can try and get that experience. Maybe even break a fort here. Level 10 abilities could help with that a lot, and there we go. What's it going to be? Sulfura Smash for Buvel. No Lava Wave shenanigans, Buvell knows that Lava Wave sucks. In most cases. There are outlier scenarios, I'll grant that. And we have Jaina again with the Water Elemental, so no Ring of Frost action, but we have a leap on Sonya! Oh boy, we're talking. Leap into Sulfuras. Okay, did not see that coming, I'm gonna admit it. I would have bet money on it being just simply Wrath of the Berserker. Bunker on the other end, the Riptire, Blessed Shield already used, the arrow as well. They're going all in on Jaina, and they get the kill. Blessed Shield into an arrow to secure the kill against Jaina, and it worked out. She's down, and that is kill number 2, and gives a bit more control over the middle of the map now to the red team. France with another turn-in attempt here, and they are very likely to pull this one off now too. There's nothing that Finland can do about it. Without Jaina, your damage is gone. She's the only range damage. She's the burst damage. If she's down, you can't contest, so they immediately have to move away from the turn-in points, and there's a bit of zoning happening as we see another Web Weaver wave getting ready for France. France about to push this in, but we have all 5 back into business for Finland now as well, and keep that Sonya in mind, but she's at the bot lane right now, so there's very little that they can do without her. If they are really banking their hopes onto Sulfuras plus Blizzard plus Leap, then they need to get that in. It's a bit of a one-shot combo, I'm not gonna lie here. If they can set that up, it would be great. But here it does look very unfortunate for them. Good move with the throw out and a kill against Hanzo. Hanzo is down. In comes Sonya. 5 versus 4 now. And Leap is still up. So is Sulfuras. If they have the cooldowns, they can play around it. But they also have to deep push the Web Weavers. And that's what they're doing. Ragnaros at the top with the Molten Core. The rest of the team moving into the middle as Sonya already proceeds to the bot lane and tries to take them down. France is not getting anything done with these turn-ins. This is the second turn-in that they had, and they didn't do jack shit with them. Not necessarily their fault, granted. They're just in a really bad spot against that Ragnaros Molten Core, and then losing Hanzo in that last fight didn't really help them either. If you have the objective on the map and you lose a hero and you're fighting a 5 versus 4 situation, that's not really the best way to get value out of the objective. So Finland is doing well with this, much better than in the first game, for sure. 2 kills against 1 against them. But when it comes to value from turn-ins, they are looking still powerful. And they have also the gem count. MXD needs to be a bit careful. Gets the assistance here. Alright, arrow came out. Indomitable being used. I'm liking it. Good reaction from Garrosh. Playing very well around that. There was a big cooldown burnt now from France. No arrow for them anymore. Here comes the flip. They're trying to go for the water element. Blessed Shield comes out. The jet propulsion follow-up. Tyrande stun. What a setup! But the leap is there. Great leap to save Garrosh. Chikabawa with a play. Well done by them. Great job by Finland. Garrosh trying to create space for the turn-in to be completed. Him in a lot of trouble, and then Sonya with the immediate leap, doing fantastic here in the choke point to make sure that the kill cannot be secured by France. Very, very well played by them. 13 versus 13. Talents on the board now. And with that, one of the things that we're going to see is also the spear. A bit more mobility for Sonya herself. 30 seconds until the cooldown is back up, but already France is back on the turn-in point. They don't have the gem count to complete it, but they definitely hand everything in that they have. Once again, Sonya moving around, trying first of all to bait that wave into the range of the fort, but we still have the fight over the turn-in points. Quest completion for Garrosh. And now the big question, can they get a kill? Can they get a turn-in? They have the Bruiser Camp. Finland on the move forward with the Spell Aura. Sonya moving into the middle, 7 seconds on the leap here. The fight is happening under the Spell Aura for just a few seconds until the Wizard is taken down. And the blue team secures another Web Weaver wave with Chikabawa going straight into the turn-in point, handing everything in, and now they can try and get some value. And they are ahead in experience. They have taken the experience lead. It's a small one that doesn't really do anything just yet, but it's already a bit of a sign of what could potentially come here, considering that this is only the second turn-in for them. So now they're going to be drawing even in turn-ins, and they should be able to get some structural damage done with this. Sonya is moving, by the way, into the middle, so she leaves Blaze alone to defend the bot lane, but it already tells you that they're hoping to get a kill here, because they can initiate with that leap. And as I said, Sonya still stays. I would have been surprised for her to move down. She's actually trying to maybe even wrap around here. They're looking for the engage, and look at France. They're playing it safe, very safe. Junkrat top, Blaze bottom. You don't want to commit too much. But here comes the attack against the first fort, and this is looking good. The Web Weaver needs glasses because that wave didn't do anything at all. That wasn't even close. So either the Web Weaver is drunk, or it needs glasses. But yeah, that didn't do anything. That was way too far out. Ana sees it and is immediately like, nope! Let's get away from here. That's not working out. The lead in experience, by the way, despite the Web Weaver wave, is currently on the side of France, thanks to the D-push of Blaze at the bot lane, and because everything for Finland was simply moved into the middle. Let's take a quick look at the quest talent. 16 for Ana, so she is not quite done with the quest yet, but she has the first quest reward, which is really important for her. The more she gets range, like the more range she gets for her abilities, the more farther back she can sit, the better for her, since once she is in the middle of the fight, she's never going to get out of it. So that's definitely something to consider here, for sure. Western Talents 2, 6 stacks on Tyrande, so you guys have a bit of an idea. In terms of the damage output, as we're seeing both teams still poking. We have Ragnaros with 21,000. Bivelle is doing well. She's doing pretty well with her Ragnaros here. She's been playing that hero for a long time. 38k on Hans on the other end, getting all that damage, and of course works out for him too. A little bit of a skirmish happening at the bottom of the map, nothing too crazy. But, yeah, up to the top, the turn-in attempts. Both teams have enough gems for turn-in number 3. Both of them do. So far, France always has taken the lead. Here comes the arrow. They're going to try and go for Bivelle, but they move away. They see everybody rotating in, and yep, not worth it. Cooldown was used, Hanzo was taking a chance, but they don't have the follow-up for it. France is looked strong in game number 1. And in game number 2, I'm not trying to say that they're looking bad here either, but you can really tell that Finland feels way more comfortable on the map and with the position that they have now. But the turn-in at the top is completed, since they didn't go for anything here. They tried to make the move down to the bottom of the map, Finland that is, for the turn-in, didn't guard top side, and they got punished for it. We're probably hoping to maybe get a kill. That didn't work out for them, so now they have to face the music once more. 16 talents are in. That means that once again we're having Stone Skin for Sonya, a bit more survivability for her. It's going to be super important here. Also Northern Exposure right now for Numbing Blast for Jaina. Garrosh again eating the damage, but still surviving. Kept alive by Ana, who is doing a ton of work. Good throw again. You can't die now. You can't die. You don't have the gem count. Trying to dodge Riptire, and that's the end of Garrosh. Finally taken out. Here comes the commitment. Quasar with the jet propulsion, and now all of a sudden everything just goes to hell. Ana falls. Jaina is on the run, looking for a counter kill against Tyrande. Can't find it either. Triple kill for France, and that is a disaster for Finland. Not only because boss is open and ready to go, but because there's also a lot of gems that were just lost in that last encounter. All of a sudden Finland doesn't even have the gems any longer to get a turn-in by themselves. Great opportunity for France, and they immediately take it. Good moves against especially Garrosh. And I have to once again point out Banana H2, who really just cut off the path of retreat of Garrosh. Wasn't really just aiming for Garrosh, but always trying to make sure that he couldn't retreat. Garrosh realized, once he saw the circle, hey, if I try and move back now, I'm going to get stunned. So he waits it out a little bit longer, is forced into position, and that allows the rest of the team to close the distance and then take him down. Finland was a little bit too hesitant. They started strong into the game, but they're still hesitating a lot on their combo. They need to, at some point, to just say, okay, boys, let's go. Let's get that leap in, believe in Sonya, and follow it up with an immediate Sylph for us and try to get that kill. So far, that hasn't happened. They had a couple of cool moments, but that didn't really work out. Nice move by Garrosh again, just barely saving Ana here. The Riptire comes in. Doesn't do too much, but I really, really like that. It was a cool move. Great arrow from France. I like it. Hanzo definitely with the right eye there. And they could have gotten the kill against Ana, but Garrosh was immediately ready. And then uses the throw, saves Ana just before that Tyrande stun comes in. But that could have definitely been a lot worse. In terms of builds and talents, as we can see right now, Ana, by the way, with the smelling salts, moving the stuns and the sharpshooter. We have her on 18 stacks now. 2 stacks away on the level 1 quest to complete it and get the full reward for it, and not only half reward, 9 stuns and connects by now by Tyrande. But again, keep in mind, Banana H was throwing a lot of these out where he wasn't even trying to necessarily hit the target, but more so worried about cutting off a path of retreat or any kind of follow-up. So he's getting quite a bit of value out of this. And it is, to be honest, also a lot of this is reflected in the damage output that we're seeing so far. Talking damage, we might see a lot more right here because there's a bit of a flank attempt happening. Sonya's in trouble, might even have to leap out of this. Gets still healed, Water Elemental is there. The real thing for me is like, you can see the problem, right? They would love to engage into a fight. I mean, just look at the setup. In an ideal world, you want to get a flip, you want to get a stun, you want to burn a target away. If that doesn't work out, you want to engage onto someone with leap, get the blizzard in, get a sulfur smash and get the kill. The problem that I really have right now is that Finland just doesn't really seem to find these opportunities. France is playing it close to home, and they are always just the ones pushing the agenda. They are the ones by making the move, and they always push Finland into a situation where they just can't land any of these combos. They have good positioning around Blaze and Johanna. And they're going in here again. Now they try to go for a move. There's the taunt, and that could be the kill. But we saw the leap into the backline from Sonya, and Chikibawa is getting wrecked. If he would have leapt onto Blaze too, that would have been a Blaze kill. Maybe they could have still not won the fight, but now they're definitely going to lose it. Sonya leaping into the back, the rest of the team busy with Blaze. Arrow misses everybody, but I still think that there's a good chance that Garrosh might fall. Nah, Ana too strong. Ana too strong, keeping him alive, but that was a very unfortunate incident again. Great connect onto Blaze. Again, in an ideal world, yes, he's not the one you want to kill. If you get your choice, you will probably try and go for Junkrat or for Hanzo or Toranda. But in this case, it wasn't too bad. You get the stun in from Garrosh, he gets flipped in, he gets taunted. Sulfura Smash comes in after. And if you just stack that leap on top of it and get a spear connected, then Blaze is down. It's a big commitment in resources, don't get me wrong. And you might still struggle winning the fight afterwards. But I think it would have been their best choice there. Ragnaros again for the defense. They can definitely defend the mid lane right now. The problem is the bot and the top. Top lane has already taken damage a lot early on, and bot lane isn't looking too healthy either because there's a big wave coming. Another big stack! Dayquaza on his Blaze with a jet propulsion, and then Banana Age just always ready with a stun, connects another one. Now they're going for a Bouvel, and this looks like the beginning of the end. France is gaining momentum. 8 kills against 1, make that 9. They take everybody down. They have their Storm Talents, they have the push with the Web Weavers, and they are mercilessly executing it against Finland right now. Great game from them here in the later stages of map 2. Already a convincing victory in the first one. Now 2 of the keeps are down, a third one is maybe even gonna fall, but the more important part is this core is not gonna make it either. France taking the first best of 3 series at the Nexus contest against Finland with a 2-0 victory. Congratulations.